What's up? It's Monday. I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, which means it's Mailbox Monday. That's the day every week dedicated to answering your questions about marketing, copywriting, business building, and more. Today's question from a new subscriber asks about how to be perceived as an authority in your niche. So, it says, Roy, my biggest question is how to be perceived as an authority in my niche. Green building. Thanks. T. So let's just start with the number one secret to authority status in any niche. And if you think about anybody, like just take a second to think about somebody who you perceive as an authority. And I want you to tell me true or false, or, you can just say it out loud. I'm not necessarily here, but you could leave a comment too. True or false? This person who you perceive as an authority in your niche is following this rule. What I'm doing right now. Publishing. You create content for your niche, for your audience, and the publishing can be online, it can be in media, it can be in social media, it can be in traditional media, depending on your niche, right? It can be wherever is most relevant, wherever people are engaging with the message. It could be a book, it could be in, magazines or newspapers or other traditional print media. It could be in a newsletter that you sent out directly to your audience. It could be in more traditional video and audio media like radio and TV. It could be online. It could be YouTube. It could be TikTok. You could be the TikTok authority in your niche. You could be, I said YouTube, podcast, whatever, right? But it's about consistently publishing for your audience. And by the way, it doesn't necessarily just have to be you and all your brilliance. One way to be perceived as an authority in your niche is to interview other people who you perceive as authorities in your niche. So most Fridays, I put out a podcast episode that is an interview with somebody who's an expert. Well, here's a little secret about doing that. As much as me putting them in front of my audience as the authority that they are in their niche, it benefits them. It also benefits me and positions me as an authority in the niche because I'm speaking with these other people. And there's something, Dan Kennedy calls it the with strategy. Who you are with is who you are perceived as being. And so if I'm speaking to all these different marketing experts, I'm also perceived as a marketing expert. And so completely independent of me putting out content like this, even if I was just interviewing a bunch of interesting people and sharing the interviews that I do, that would also make me perceived as an authority in the niche. Now, I do have a link in the description to the value first funnel strategy, which is all about this whole approach to providing value first, often in the form of some kind of published media, providing value first, and then using that to drag people knock them over the head and drag them into your business, using that to pull people, to attract people into your business, your prospective customers, by being intentional about the kind of publishing that you do and the kind of content that you put out. And so you might want to check that out if you're interested in doing this. Now, you want to turn your authority status up to 11. Here's a little secret. Well, it's the strategy of preeminence. And I'm pulling this from Jay Abraham, who certainly came up with the name and who I associate this concept with the most. Jay teaches that you need to become the preeminent authority and expert to your audience on your particular topic. And so what this means is you become the person who they go to figure out about your topic, independent of coming to you to buy. And again, this is a strategy, it's positioning, it's how you think of yourself, that you need to think, okay, I can provide people the most value about this particular product, this particular service, right? I can provide them the most value. And so I'm going to provide them that value. And this is not about selling. It's not about selling, but it will often lead to more sales. So one great example of this that I bring up often, one of my first experiences where this really worked well was when I was selling IT training. What I made my focus when I was selling IT training, I had worked in marketing. I moved over to sales because sales was a commission job at that company. And I used my marketing skills to basically build an appointment funnel, to build a consultation funnel. So if somebody was interested in a a corporate training solution or a team training solution for their IT department, they would talk to me. They would fill out a request for like a consultation, and they would talk to me, and I would do a consultation with them about their IT training. And my goal in that conversation was to help them find the best fit for their training needs. So if they felt like they needed their IT people to go off to a boot camp, I would recommend, okay, well, here's what you can look for in a boot camp. If they felt like in order to meet their corporate like training directors standards for the training, they needed pretty training, I would direct them towards pretty training. But if they were focused on the core training, the content being great from great trainers, I would show them how our content was great from great trainers and how our computer-based training methodology allowed them to get access to more training for a lower investment and a higher quality training for a lower investment than most other options. And so I became the preeminent authority to them on this training decision for corporate and team training for their IT departments. And then I helped them make the decision, and some people I would send away. But because I had that positioning and posture that, hey, I'm happy to send you away if we're not a fit, I also closed a ton of deals. And I would have the fax machine go off, and I'd have another $30,000 purchase order show up, and people would be like, Roy, how'd you do it? Well, it was about this. It was about trying to find the best solution for my prospects, which often meant, but didn't always meant, they did business with me. And that turns your authority status up to 11. Now here's an easy way to start boosting your authority status. I actually got this from a guy who was a pool installer. He had a pool installation business, but he was also a smart digital marketer. Basically what he did is he had this team. Who would answer calls about, getting pools installed. It was kind of a sales team, but it was an inbound sales team. And he said, every time you get a new question, I want you to write it down. And when you write it down, we're going to come up with an answer. And this answer, we can send it out to them via email or whatever. But we're also going to turn the answer to that question into a blog post. And so they had pool installer in, I'm going to use Lincoln, Nebraska, even though that's not where he is. Pool installer in Lincoln, Nebraska would be what they would optimize for on Google search, right? And they wanted to become the preeminent authority. They wanted to be the person to turn to in terms of pool installation in Lincoln, Nebraska. But as much as they optimized for Lincoln, Nebraska, or whatever their location was, they also had all of these questions that people ask prior to getting a pool installed. And so it would be, can I get an in-ground pool on my property, Lincoln, Nebraska, right? Or how long does it take to install a pool, Lincoln, Nebraska? Whatever it is, right? Whatever the question might be. And then it would be tied to their location, their business. And answering questions like that, one of the great things that it does is it attracts people who have buying interest, because when somebody has buying interest, they tend to ask a lot of questions like this, right? But it's also a fast and easy way to create this kind of content that's perceived as highly valuable to your audience in your niche, right? It's a fast and easy way to create content that will boost your authority status. Now, here's one more thing that I have for you, a hack to grow your business and your authority status. Man, I hate the word hack. I guess that's why I put it in quotes here, but I know a lot of people love it. You want to build your email list on authority content. So number one, what I just talked about, that's a great way to get traffic, right, with your authority content. So you answer a question, you have a question posed and answered in like a blog post or a YouTube video or whatever. Like that's what I'm doing right now, right? I have a question posed, answered in some piece of content, right? But at the end of that content, there's a next step that they can take to go deeper with you. And that's going to require them to opt in, maybe fill out some kind of lead form, or just fill out an email opt-in, or perhaps it's to get them to buy an entry-level product. Like there's lots of ways that you can approach this, but the whole point is that you're doing this to build your list. So it's not just to get the traffic. Every piece of content that's associated with getting traffic should also have a next action that's going to lead towards them becoming either a lead or a customer for your business. And if you want to go deeper into that, I recently did training on content marketing to grow your business. And that is also linked in the description. And both that and the Value First Funnel strategy are part of the BTMS Insiders training library, which is like Netflix for copywriting and marketing training, where you pay one low monthly fee and you get unlimited streaming access to all of my training. There's over 180 hours of training on copywriting, marketing, and entrepreneurship, and you get access to all of it as much as you want to stream. Just binge it, whatever, right? So my call to action for you at the end of this episode is, number one, ask yourself, how can you use this? You want to become an authority in your niche? How can you use what I just shared with you? It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. You do have to do it. You have to do the work, and consistency is going to be rewarded. This will have a snowball effect where the more that you do it, the bigger impact all of it will have. And it's like a compounding effect, right? But how can you use this today to start increasing your authority status? Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can like this episode here, right? You can subscribe here. Also, you can go to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com. That link is in the description as well, where you can sign up for my daily emails, including episode notifications and more exclusive content for email subscribers. Again, links are in the description to that, to the Values First Funnel strategy, to content marketing to grow your business. And because it's Mailbox Monday, I'll remind you that there's a link in the description to ask me your question for it to potentially be answered in an upcoming episode. Hey, I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. I hope you got a ton of value here, and I look forward to hearing how you succeed with what you've heard in this episode. I'll catch you again in the next episode. See you soon. Bye. Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.